Morning to you. 9:42 is the time, and it's a big day here in London. There's lots of conversations that we're having, and of course we're waiting. In about an hour and 15 minutes we will get that final report, which will be released into the Grenfell Tower Inquiry. It's the phase 2 report, and it comes 6 years after the inquiry first began. And the report is going to be examining, from what we understand so far, I do stress this, we haven't read it and no one has yet. The report will examine the conditions that were allowed for the fire to spread at the tower block. And what we can expect is an overview of the opportunities missed. We can expect the report to be quite critical of the previous government, the council in charge, the building industry, manufacturers and the London Fire Brigade. Now, earlier this morning, I spoke with Dame Judith Hackett, the chair of the Independent Review of Building Regulations and Fire Safety. She led an independent review into the regulation and fire safety of tall buildings that was announced in 2017 as a result of the Grenfell Tower tragedy. This is what she had to say.
I was shocked by what I found. I was shocked by the behaviour of the industry as a whole, their lack of professionalism, lack of competence, gaming of the regulatory system, looking for ways to cut corners without any real concern for, will this affect the safety of the building? There are many actors in the frame for this, I think, and many lessons to be learned, and we need to learn them all.
Now, for families and survivors who lost the people that they love in the fire, this has been an agonising wait. I'm joined now by Paula Shalloo, who is from End Our Cladding Scandal campaign group. They advocate for the resolution of issues related to building safety in the UK. Paula, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, thank you.
I appreciate you haven't seen the report, but what are you hoping from it?
Well, that's correct. I haven't seen the report, so obviously can't comment on the detail. I just want to say first and foremost, though, that today our thoughts are naturally with the Grenfell bereaved and survivors who desperately need and deserve justice. And it's been a very long time coming, but the report being published today is hopefully an important first step in holding to account really those responsible for the loss of 72 innocent lives. So what we're hoping for today is to see, outlined the systemic failures. The reality is that successive governments deregulated, they cut red tape, ignored multiple warnings. There was inadequate regulation and control of the construction sector, which was allowed to put profits before people with, horrific consequences. Hopefully, as Judith Hackett said, lessons will be learned, because there were many actors involved in this who could have prevented it along the way.
Paula, you mentioned there about holding people to account and that being a key part of the report that you would like to see. Of course, the inquiry doesn't find blame and the criminal proceedings are still some years away. Will you be disappointed if there isn't a clear point of accountability, or numerous points of accountability perhaps, in the report?
Absolutely. I mean, not just disappointed, but it will be absolutely shocking if that's the case. There must be serious consequences or nothing will change, and it will just be a matter of time before we see another Grenfell.
The LFB Fire Commissioner Andy Rowe says that unsafe buildings in London are up to 1,300 that still have fire safety issues, cladding being one of those issues. Why do you think it hasn't been a priority? He said it must be a priority. Why do you think it hasn't, and what would you like to see happen?
Well, it hasn't been a priority because there hasn't been the political will. The previous government failed to grasp the nettle and to actually make it a priority to make these buildings safe as quickly as possible. And too much time was spent, with various parties arguing amongst themselves about who would actually pay. And, the reality is that, this is real people's lives that are at stake. So what should have happened is that it should have all been forward funded and then, chase the guilty parties afterwards. But instead we ended up with, a process that was far too slow, far too complicated. So that really needs to stop now, and we need the current government to step up, grasp the nettle, and actually bring about, a fair solution for everybody.
Paula, are you in contact with people and families who live in buildings that do have unsafe cladding on?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, I suppose my question then is, what is the impact of living in those buildings? What impact does it have on them, especially in light of the Grenfell Tower tragedy?
Well, the impact is huge. it takes an absolutely enormous toll on people's mental health. By the way, my own building has cladding now. We are in the process of being remediated, but it's taken many years to get to that stage, and it won't be fixed until the end of 2025, possibly into 2026. There are many buildings that haven't even been assessed yet. So, and everybody is just in limbo. And like I said, that takes, an absolutely huge toll on people's well-being. It really can't be overstated. It doesn't take a stretch of the imagination, really, to imagine what it's like to go to bed every night worried about how you might escape if your building catches fire. And you can just imagine how magnified that fear would be for anybody with a disability, or maybe with young children, that they would need to get out of the building. So, that first and foremost, the mental stress is terrible. And then on top of that, you have financial stress because of all the extra costs involved.
Yes, of course, quite. And that adds to the mental stress as well, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Paula, thank you for talking to us. I hope we get to talk again when we've all read the report. But I appreciate your time. I know you have a busy day. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Thank you very much.